Shaky Ethan here, along with Missus Snarky.
This Snarky gonna sneak a drink. Howdy, y'all.
Yeah. So we're back, chapter 13 this week, and it's dealing with my mother during recovery. Now, both Snarky and I have a little bit of difference here in that our moms are both dead. So, but mine was alive when I was given this book by my sisters. So that was part of this is, but I had gone no contact at that point. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we're not off the hook either.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
like,
no.
Mom died, poof, my problems just disappeared.
Right, yeah, no, that's not how that works.
But we'll discuss those feelings when we get to it, because she goes over it in the chapter, but...
Yeah, she does.
It's definitely not just, smooth sailing just because, we no longer... We actually do still hear the critique.
Yeah, daily.
The very unfair critique. I mean, basically abuse. Yeah, it's abuse. It's abuse. But,
So she starts with a quote. Their mothers may be long dead or white-haired and infirm, but still they have a profound hold on their daughters, who talk of them as though they were about to be sent to their rooms. How is this reign of terror by little old ladies possible? And that's Victoria Secunda. When you and your mother can't be friends.
I just got like this visual, this old lady knitting. She's red-haired because she's me. Just knitting and hearing her name and going, am I in trouble?
Right?
Ah. Lord have mercy. Jennifer Ann! Oh.
Yeah, it was Casey Ann for me.
Oh, the Anns.
She was Ann.
Yeah. You. And she named herself. Oh, God.
She named me her entire name just with Casey tacked on at the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, my mom, I guess she kind of did it, but she was a little more slick about it because her name was Diane.
Yeah. So just like a similar name.
Yeah. Oh.
And she starts off, you have earned the right to be proud of yourself for a number of reasons, not least of which is all the self-healing work that you have accomplished. Now let's figure out what to do about your mother if she is still around, still a part of your life in some way. You've changed, and she hasn't. At this stage in your recovery, you must explore ways for you to manage your relationship with her and remain healthy yourself. Even though you are feeling stronger and have a more solid sense of self, you probably approach decisions about how to cope with mother with trepidation. You might be asking yourself the following. What can I say to her? Can she be fixed? How do I deal with her? Should I stay connected with her even though it's extremely difficult and painful for me? Many daughters have tried various ways to avoid the train wrecks they go through with their narcissistic mothers. Frequently, though, they hit barriers, problems, and frustrations.
Yeah, I definitely hit some barriers.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I would sit down and try to talk about my feelings and, how she treated me and how that made me feel, it was always seen as a personal attack on her, even if I was very, very careful, even if I phrased it like, when you do this, it makes me feel.
Yes. Oh, I've tried that too. Nope.
Yeah, no, she just noped right out of it. Oh, so it's typical psychobabble. Yeah, typical psychobabble. Always blame the mother. Blah, 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 blah. And you don't know what I've been through. And it would end up in her, like, losing it. Either one of two ways. Either she would lose it and yell at me and call me all kinds of crap, and then it would be like a full-fledged, battle. And but the other direction it would go is she would get really, really hurt, be attacked, and then it would end in her having a panic attack or anxiety attack, rather. So, yeah, it was frustrating to say the least, and most definitely not productive.
Mm-mm.
Made things worse.
No, it did. Yeah, it did for me too. Every step of the way. And like I've said, like my uh, my cutoff point between the time where I realized it was abuse, and then because there were a few weeks where I needed to process that concept and ask tons of questions of Greg. Like, is this normal? What about this? Did your parents do this? No? They didn't do any of this? What?
Yeah. When you have absolutely no way to gauge, what quote unquote normal is, because you've been raised in this, upheaval for so long. I mean, that is your normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's your baseline. Everybody else is somewhere completely different. So I kind of, for me, like finding it took years, like to realize that just exactly how abnormal it was. I was raised, and I'm still kind of learning.
Yeah, I still come up with a memory will get triggered, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember when we were little, this happened, and I can't count the times that I just get this as the response.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Wait, she did that? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. That's not normal.
Right, yeah. That's not normal.
And we've been gaslit so much that...
Yeah, every time when growing up, when I would start to think that it was abusive, or that, I had reason to complain more than the average teenager, it would just be reinforced in my head. Oh, well, you're a teenager. Teenagers don't get along with their parents no matter what. Blah, blah, blah. You'll get over it. And then I also had the voice of mom in my head, because we used to she would have us watch like daytime talk shows with her. And
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil was one of them. When he became a thing, because I remember a time before Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
But that was Maury. And
oh God,
because he's been on forever. I think he's still running, and I think it's still like, you're not the father or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
But there would be kids on there that would be complaining about abuse, and it would be emotional or mental or psychological, and she'd say, well, show me the bruises. If you don't have bruises, you're not being abused.
Oh, bullshit.
So I had that going in my head too. So every time I began to think this isn't normal or this isn't right, I would be like, well, no, you're wrong. Like, it's totally normal.
Yeah, it's... The thing is, like, my mom didn't hold that opinion. She knew that emotional, psychological abuse, they were a thing, because we discussed it. But only in the context of, well, your dad. But her, I just didn't understand, and I had no conception, and blah, 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 and I had no idea what life was all about. And I was histrionic, and I was just like him, and I was abusing her. The child.
Yep.
Was abusing
the adult.
The parent.
Yeah. Yep. And when I ended up crying, it was the same thing. She's like, you're not crying because you're hurt. You're crying because you're trying to manipulate me.
Yeah.
No, Mom, I'm fucking hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun times.
I would have panic attacks too.
Yeah.
And there were times when I came to her and I was like, I just want to give up. I just, I was suicidal. And, oh, you'll be fine. Blah, 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 blah. We'll put you on some pills, take a Xanax. Which, wonder why I was addicted to those for a few years. Yeah. Take a Xanax and shut up. That was her philosophy of psychological help.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's pretty much. Mom had the Xanax too for her panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And she would give one to me if I was having a really bad one, which she didn't do very often because she wanted them.
Yeah.
So, but even like once I got on the medications, they had even suggested my current therapist that I got through pain management clinic is like try to get through it. Like once it kicks in, try to get through it on your own, because if you immediately go for the benzodiazepine, your body is actually going to gear up because it thinks I need to be worried right now, so I'm going to gear up and I'm going to be even more worried. The heart rate's going to go up even more because it's anticipating that.
And that's exactly the dynamic, that because I was given I had a prescription for it, that and Valium, and that was the dynamic I was stuck in for years. Like, and if there was some kind of problem, if I wasn't able to like get my refill or whatever, and I was going to college, and I would just completely flip. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get through a day of stress? Just normal everyday stress plus mom.
Right, yeah.
Because I was staying with mom. And that was definitely a big source of stress.
Yeah, it's no wonder why people who grew up the way we did have problems with drugs and alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's easy to see because it brings you a little bit away from reality, and if you don't have to deal with reality, you're gonna make the decision to not deal with reality.
Yeah, escapism.
Yeah.
It's real easy to fall into that pit. So, yeah, that's why learning coping skills and like CBT therapy really helped me to deal with it, because recovery was really difficult for me. I mean, it is for everybody, but my experience was, not only did I have all of the trauma and everything else, but I also had the addiction. So the therapy really helped me, and it took time, and it was very difficult. And it's not something that you hear people say, I'll just suck it up, whatever. But no, addiction is not like that. You need support. You need somebody to help you through the process. And if you are suffering from any kind of addiction or suicidal thoughts, anything like that, contact a therapist. There is help out there. So, yeah.
And if you don't like your therapist, or if it's not helping you, get a different one.
Definitely. She goes on to say in chapter 1, or in this chapter, I offer suggestions on how to manage these difficult situations. It can be frustrating to figure out the healthy path to take with a narcissistic mother. It's a significant struggle, one that appears to leave many daughters feeling hopeless, helpless, and in pain. So what can you do? Don't get dependent on diazepines or alcohol or anything else, or opioids, because we want you around, even if you're a little bit of an asshole or not. Who knows? There's all kind of different variety of people watching this. I know I'm an asshole, but I'm alive, and that's a good thing, I guess. Yes, it's a good thing. Took me a minute. I had to think, because sometimes, that existential crisis sets in.
Right?
So she goes into what is more often than not the case, the untreatables. If your mother has full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, the chances of effective treatment for her or change are slight. While I would never say it's impossible, it would require intensive, long-term, committed treatment. And most important, her desire to be treated. And at first it has to be like accepted that she even has a problem.
Right, yeah.
Because A narcissist is like, it's not me, it's you. It's always the projection.
Yep.
Always. It is quite rare for a person with true NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, to seek therapy for herself and genuinely want change and to grow personally. In my experience, NPD patients who seek therapy are searching for answers in how to deal with someone else. Mm-hmm. If they do express a desire to work on themselves, they drop out of therapy rather quickly, usually telling me that they need to find a therapist with a different approach. Mm-hmm. That's very common. And another thing that's really common is if you tell your mom, hey, I'm seeing a therapist, and she says that you and I should have a dialogue. We should talk about, X, Y, and Z. And then you start talking about it. And they will say, I think you need to see a different therapist because this one is just trying to make me look like a bad mother. Mm-hmm. You need to work on your problems.
Yeah, the same therapist I have was seeing, because she was at the pain management clinic too before she got kicked out. And drug abuse.
Imagine my shock.
Right? And he just even tried in starting, because she would have me go with her. Yeah. And he would, kind of make a suggestion that, like, maybe she could change this aspect about herself or this other aspect. And as soon as that started, he became unqualified. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And just all this shit. And she stopped going.
Or he's too young, he's too old, his hair's too brown. It's just anything. Anything that they... I didn't see no degrees on the wall. Well, it was... What? Anyway. Typically in their eyes, there is something wrong with me, the therapist. As we just kind of pointed out. My favorite story is from a few years back when my therapist fee was $100 per session. In the midst of my explaining what constitutes a good mother-daughter communication, this rather aggressive mother began searching frantically in her purse. She then dragged out a $100 bill along with her cigarette lighter and proceeded to light the bill on fire, saying, "This is what I think of your therapy advice." I had to laugh. Thankfully, the daughter and I put out the fire and ended that infamous mother-daughter session quickly.
Right?
I definitely wanted to share that anecdote. Usually I skip over the anecdotes, but that was a good one.
My God. Just lighting, you're only hurting yourself at that point.
To the narcissist, that was a defense.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
That was totally, it's worth $100 to keep my pride and to show that my ego isn't damaged. Sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Sure. The more traits your mother has that fit the disorder, the less likely she is a candidate for successful treatment. This means that you can't fix her and should not be attempting it. Since she is not going to change, you may then ask whether or not you should continue to have contact with her, particularly if her behavior causes you significant emotional stress and distress. And this is self-care is first, y'all. You gotta take care of you. You're responsible for you. You are not responsible for your mother's health.
Yep.
Now, I know that, people shame you for saying that because, well, your mama changed your diapers. So?
Yeah.
Does that mean that she gets to abuse me? No, It does not.
She did the bare minimum required of law to take care of us.
Yep.
Like, big whoop, you're supposed to. You made the decision. Like, it's not like I, magically appeared for no reason.
Well, I don't know about you, but I was this egg, and I was just like, I want to be fertilized. And I fertilized myself. And then I made my mom go through 9 months of terrible pain and 14,000 hours of labor. Like, I did that.
Yeah, right.
It's totally my fault.
Totally our fault.
I was like floating in the ether going, you know what? There's this woman named Diane. I'm gonna make her life hell.
Yep, I'm gonna fuck up this woman's life.
That's right. That's right. How dare her exist as an awesome person that she is, with an immaculate image. God, like, well, who are you, Mother Mary? Come on,
right?
Now.
So yeah, the next section is toxic mothers. We have to acknowledge that a narcissistic mother may be too toxic to be around. In many situations, daughters have to make the choice to disconnect completely from their mothers because the toxicity damages their emotional well-being. While others around you may not understand it, this is a decision that you get to make for your own mental health, and sometimes you have to make that decision.
Yeah, it ain't their life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their life. They don't have to deal with the abuse.
No.
So, like, shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like those people that were, you tell them, I have depression. Oh, did you try go for a walk in nature?
Yeah,
what
right?
about lavender oil on your pillow?
It's the lavender oil.
Shut the fuck up and let me. I know what I'm doing. I'm taking care of myself. I'm my own, you know, I'm responsible for my own care.
Mm-hmm.
And while, you know, these people might be well-meaning or whatever, they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, that's your mom. How could you? Easy.
Yes.
And really, I mean, saying easy, it's not easy.
Right.
But,
yeah, no.
But, I mean, sometimes you have to respond just quickly, sharply, to the point. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
I care about myself enough to go through this process, to distance myself from my abuser.
Yeah.
So, thanks, but no thanks.
Yep.
Anyway.
She says, I have known daughters who felt tremendous relief when their narcissistic mothers passed away. They feel delivered out from under a huge burden, but guilty about admitting it. And that, like, when Mom died, I did feel a little bit of relief, but that was quickly followed up with by guilt. And, you know, she was ill. I was the only one taking care of her, and I was the last one to basically say, bye, I'm not dealing with you. And so, like, guilt for me was the most prevalent emotion when Mom passed away. My relationship with my mom was so complex. Like, we were so close. Like, we had experienced abuse together. And, like, this was a woman that we could give each other a look from across the room full of people with circumstances happening in front of us. And we could communicate an idea just by looking at each other. And, all the time that we spent poring over literature, discussing politics, discussing philosophy, just, talking about things, laughing. Christmases, getting drunk on Goldschlager and, just talking shit. And deep shit, too. And listening to music, and there was just so much there that I cherished. But at the same time, I did feel the relief. I felt the relief. First, it was for her because she was in a lot of pain for years. She had fractured vertebra, slipped disc. She spent some time in a wheelchair. Same.
She spent time, there was a time frame when she couldn't get up to go to the bathroom. I had to catheterize her when I was like 7 years old. She had a really difficult life, at least adult life. Her childhood was you know. But her adult life was difficult, and I could relate to her on so many different levels. But then, knowing that she was no longer in pain, and knowing that I no longer had to hear her, were both sources of relief for me. And it was kind of weird. The moment she died, before I even got the phone call that she died, because it was way far away from me and I couldn't be there with her, I had the feeling just like a weight, like an elephant that had been sitting on me for years and years and years, just suddenly got off of me. And I could sigh. But then, like, I went into a very deep depression because there was no one on this planet who understood me like she did. So I grieved, and it took... Sometimes I still grieve, because I don't have that anymore. But I don't know. It's very complicated.
Yeah, it really is.
It's never just, well, she's gone, and that's it. There's always a whole lot of different things that, because this is mom we're talking about here. And, whether she was a narcissist or not, you do have that connection in some way. Now, there is a grieving process, but it's way more complicated when you have a mom or a dad who was abusive.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for... I'm glad we're talking about this, because I know there's a lot of people out there that can relate, but they're afraid to speak up because they're supposed to feel this way or that. That's not how feelings work, honey.
No.
Feelings arise. They're not something you can control like that. I know we like to think we can control our reactions somewhat. There's a limit to that too. There's only so much a person can take. So if anything else, having this conversation can at least open that world up to people who are feeling, because I know there's millions of us out there that are suffering through and struggling through this grief, just wondering, am I alone? You're not.
Yeah.
So anyway, diatribe. It's over now. If your mother is indeed unchangeable, and she probably is, and you find yourself being constantly abused by her, it is important to know that disconnecting from her can be healthy. When you decide to make this choice, however, make sure that you've completed your own recovery work. Now, I'm gonna push back. It's never done. You haven't completed.
Yeah.
But I would say, perhaps in the context of this blurry, snarky, in the context of this, I think she means like going through at least this process once at least. So, which is sound advice, but just to clarify. If you simply detach and remove yourself from your mother without doing your own work, you will not diminish your pain, and your true self cannot emerge into the peacefulness that you desire. As Dr. Murray Bowen reminds us in Family Therapy and Clinical Practice, less differentiated people are moved about like pawns by emotional tensions. Better differentiated people are less vulnerable to tension. Thankfully, not all mothers with narcissistic traits are lost causes. Daughters do choose to stay in a relationship with more workable mothers and to create a different kind of connection. I call this the civil connection. I can't imagine a civil connection.
I can't either.
It's just... There was... I don't know. Like I said, it was really complicated with my mom. Like, we would have a big blowout once a week. Like clockwork. It was just something with... and then it would be all... Of course, we'd get on each other's nerves and whatnot, and there would be, little snide remarks. Oh, you can never do anything right, but fuck you, Mom, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I just can't envision it.
Yeah.
So, the civil connection. What the fuck is that? Let's find out. In the civil connection, daughters of narcissistic mothers change the dynamic of their interactions with mother by having less contact. Oh, well, that's the key right there. When they are in touch, they keep the situation light, civil, and polite, but make no attempt to be emotionally close. That is really sad, but that would be necessary. This is a good option for daughters who do not want to give up on their mother totally, but have accepted that she is incapable of true mothering.
Yeah, my sister Jenny kind of did this when she still wanted to be in communication with me, and I was still talking to Mom. So, she kind of, they would have short conversations. She was in Texas, so it's not like she had to physically be in front of Mom.
Right.
She could hit that end call at any point.
Nice.
But yeah, I remember that they were, like it says, it's just civil. Like you're trying your best not to piss her off, and just getting through the conversation.
Yeah. We will survive this interaction.
I will survive.
But if you're looking for a little RASPCT, you're not gonna find it.
No.
The daughter is in touch with her mother without having expectations and consequently suffers few disappointments. This arrangement works best for you if you have completed your recovery work, which ensures that you have accepted your mother's limitations and separated from her properly. Without having adequately separated, you are at risk for being sucked back into the narcissistic family dynamics. As I stated in Chapter 11, your goal in separating is to be able to be a part of and apart from your mother and family of origin. This means that you have developed sound boundaries around yourself. For some daughters who are in the midst of recovery, but not feeling strong enough to be around mother yet, I recommend a temporary separation.
Yes. I was gonna say something.
Uh-oh.
It's there.
Tip of your tongue?
Oh! Boundaries. Like, I had no concept of boundaries before going through, like, the process of recovery and everything. Now I do. Now I know there are limits, and that, I'm... On one hand, I'm a very open person. Like, if anyone has questions about anything, I don't care what the topic is. I don't care if it's my health. Like, I'll answer whatever. But knowing the boundaries that you have, and I think she goes over this. Yeah, setting boundaries with your mother is a section. But boundaries with other people, I think I'm a lot better at now.
Yeah. It's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I often recommend that people learn how to be assertive. Even people that seem like they're really, really strong and blah, blah, blah. That's not being assertive.
No.
That's being an asshole.
Yeah.
And there is a difference, setting clear boundaries, sticking to those boundaries, and, communicating it clearly without getting, without attacking someone.
Yes.
It's a very fine line to walk, and it's an acquired skill that takes time. And I am not shy to say that I am not adept at this yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm at the same spot.
There are some people that just really push it. You set up a boundary, and they just have no respect. And at that point, my give a fuck is busted, and no holds barred or whatever.
Yeah, if you keep poking me after I've made it abundantly clear to leave me the fuck alone, yeah, you're gonna get attitude back. It's just like that's just how it works. Like, I am not this Gandhi type person that can just be well with the world 100% of the time and happy and be, you know, respectful of literally every person on this earth.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because Gandhi told the British, hey, don't worry about the Nazis.
Really? What? I don't know much about Gandhi. Like, I just know he's this symbol of, like, peace or, like, Zen.
There is a balance to be had, okay? When Gandhi told the British, don't fight the Nazis, just don't worry about it. Gandhi was wrong. Wrong.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
You punched a Nazi in the face.
Yeah.
And you bombed the shit out of them because they're bombing the shit out of London right now. Or, well, at least back then.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fuck you, Gandhi. But yeah, like I said, balance, you know your boundaries, but also, you don't have to be an asshole, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you just gotta fight back.
So the next section, the temporary separation. Although your mother will not typically be happy about this, it can be, and probably would not go for this.
Aww.
Right, I know. It can be very helpful for you to take a hiatus from her for a time while you are going through your recovery work. This gives you time to heal and work through the feelings and not be constantly triggered by her behavior. It's perfectly fine to tell Mother that you are grappling with some of your own issues and you need some personal space for a while.
It's not you, it's me, Mom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can tell her that you will contact her if there is an emergency that she needs to know about and ask that she do the same. She does not have to like this. She may throw a fit, but that's okay. You say it and then you do it. If she does not leave you alone, you will have to learn to set boundaries with her, which we will discuss below. You are in charge of your life, not your mom. She may up the ante, so to speak, and try some manipulation, as the women in the stories below describe, but it is your job to stand your ground. Your recovery is at stake.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you need to take a separation, definitely do it. Like, I can't imagine, and I don't think I would have put much credence into a book like this when I was still talking to her in a full-fledged relationship with her, and kind of under her control, so to speak. Like, I think I would have been dismissive of this.
Yeah, I would have too. You don't know me. You don't know my mom.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All that nonsense. But and then some of the examples, like Michaela here. I distance myself from Mother from time to time. She finds a way of manipulating me into helping her with things she needs done. Oh my God. That was my mom. This irritates me to no end. If I don't call her back, she calls and calls and calls. Yes. And I stalk her.
Yep. Mine would show up at the apartment if I didn't answer.
Yes. Mine did that too. She would call. And when I
called you, I thought you were dead. You need to pick up.
Yeah. Or like, Maddie and I lived next door to her. And she would call, what y'all having good to eat?
Oh yeah, you said she would take your dinner.
If I didn't answer, she'd come over. Like, this was a woman that didn't have, I'm just hurt so bad I can't wash dishes, but she could sure as hell walk over to my house.
Right?
For some eating.
Yeah, I can't drive to the gas station for my cigarettes. You have to go do that. But I'll drive over to your apartment just to, wake your ass up and bother you if you're not answering the phone. Like, yeah. I tried that maybe once or twice, just not answering. And then when I found out that brought her to me, I was like, no, I'm answering the phone.
I know, right? I know. That's exactly the conclusion you come to.
Right? Oh, shit, better answer.
Yeah, because then if she shows up at my house, she's gonna, oh, what's this? Can I borrow it? Oh, it looks like somebody didn't sweep today. Like, shut up, Mom. You've never swept in your life. Well, she had, but not in the time that I was alive.
Yeah, us kids were always responsible for cleaning the house, which was fine when there were like 4 of us. Yeah. You know, and we all cleaned. But then she would leave the same list with the same amount of stuff for me. And I'm like, shouldn't this be scaled?
Yeah.
There's not as much of us here anymore.
Oh my God. My mom used to tell me that's what I had you for.
Yes, that's what I had kids for. Why would I do X? Because that's why I have kids.
Great justification and rationalization, Mom.
Yeah. Slavery, sure.
Yeah.
Free labor.
Little child slavery there. You know.
To this day, I can't stand gardening or keeping of plants, like, at all, because that was like a punishment for us. It was a punishment, but it was also a regular chore. So, like, we had to do it no matter what, but, you know, she would send me out to, like, weed the garden if I, like, did something wrong and the garden happened to need weeding at that time. So it was really weird, but my mind thinks of it now as punishment, and I just can't, like, I kill everything. I'm like, if you're a plant, I don't give a shit.
I once killed a cactus.
Oh, wow. I once killed chives.
I got some of them growing. I bought, some green onion, because I like to, like, cut it and then put it in a jar with water in it and let it, Yep. Yeah. Save some money.
They're good. Like, I loved being able to go outside and grab some chives and put fresh chives on, like, a baked potato. Oh, so good.
Yeah, you can do it with romaine lettuce, too. Just cut the thing and it'll grow out roots.
Interesting. Very cool. Yeah. I miss, though, the one thing I miss from the garden more than anything is the kohlrabi.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. Loved it.
Yeah, we tried gardening together.
No.
I'd do all the work and she would yell the whole time. And, you know, I'd get everything planted, everything done. And then that was it. We didn't give a shit no more.
Oh, we maintained, like, everything. It was... But the one thing she would do and not let anybody else do was till the garden, which I was fine with that. She had a riding lawnmower with a tiller attachment that you could attach to the back.
The easy part.
Yeah. Yeah, that part. It was a pain in the ass, though, because at least with the really old lawnmower, so the one that, like, I remember having since I was a wee little one, because in order...
babe!
Yes. In order to drop it or lift it was a lever, and you had to push in the button at the top, and then you had to push down. And it had to be enough weight to lift the entire back, and so that was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I've had to deal with, well, not a tiller, it was like a mower attachment thing that was like that. It was really heavy. Anyway. But yeah, definitely you need to know how to set the boundaries with your mother, how to make them stick, and how to follow through. And the follow through part is the hardest. Setting the boundaries is like, hey, I know what I want, right? All right, so speaking of setting boundaries, words much, Jen? Okay. Setting boundaries means clearly stating what you will do and what you won't do. It is letting people know where you stand and drawing a line they are not allowed to cross. It means setting limits. Many people in general are fearful of setting boundaries because they worry about others' feelings. If I set a boundary, I will hurt mother's feelings. Daughters also fear setting a boundary because it will make their mothers angry. If I told her I was not coming to dinner because I needed to rest, take care of myself, she would be furious. A very common reason that daughters don't set good boundaries with their mothers is that they fear abandonment. If I tell her to back off, she'll never speak to me again, and I don't want to lose my mother totally. I've seen her cut off people, and that's it. She could do this with me too. And for me personally, it was all the above, but mainly the last thing. Because my mom was like that. She would just, you wouldn't hear from her for months. She was angry with her friend for like a decade, didn't speak to her. I mean, this was a common thing.
Yep.
Cold shoulder kind of thing. Which is valid fear, but at the same time, is that as bad as continued abuse?
Right.
I don't think it's as bad as the abuse. And making mother angry or hurting her feelings, meh. She don't care about yours.
Right, yeah.
So she don't care if you're angry. She don't care if you're upset. And that's her problem to deal with. Your responsibility is you. So let's see. And the reason why narcissists commonly cut people off and out of their lives due to their shallow emotional style of seeing others as either good or bad. Everything is black or white to them. But if you have seen your mother do this, your fear of abandonment is very real. But you must assess it in realistic terms. If she has already abandoned you emotionally, she truly does not have the power to do much more that could wreak equal or similar devastation, which is kind of the point I was making there. So...
And yeah, as soon as mom made the decision to cut people out, even her own daughters, she would talk shit about them just constantly.
Yeah, because they're evil.
Yeah.
They're either an angel or a demon.
Yep.
That is exactly what... That's a very dichotomous way of thinking, which, of course, a cognitive pitfall that we're all privy to. But narcissists absolutely will not go beyond this way of thinking. They refuse to, because of their shallow emotional and way of dealing with life. Yeah. So she goes into, of course, the manipulation, and she gives some examples, some what do you call it? Oh my god. Just examples of a situation with dealing with mom and setting boundaries and her pushing back and things like that. And how to be firm in setting these boundaries and such and so forth. If you would like to, know more about this, read the book. Buy the book. Buy the book. It's really good. Next section... Oh my god, why can't I words?
Because words are hard.
Words are hard, giggity. So, did you ever take your mother to therapy? You said you did, right?
Yeah, I went to therapy with her. It wasn't family therapy, though. It was, like, her therapy. So the therapist really only addressed her.
Wow. So did you, like, feel attacked?
Or... She would... Like, basically what mom did was, because this was also through pain management, she made it seem like she was the worst case scenario, and she couldn't possibly get better, and everything was owed to her. And he would try to touch on things, like he would ask, if you need somebody to help you, why don't you get like at-home nursing? And she would just be like, well, that's what I have her for. Like, so, and he's like, yeah, but she has her own deal. Like, yeah. But yeah, as soon as he tried addressing, things that she could change or ways that she could improve and cope with her pain that wasn't an increase in pain medication, she wanted nothing to do with them.
Of course. Of course. So she says, when I ask my clients the question, would your mother attend therapy with you to discuss mother-daughter issues? Most laugh and even scoff a bit. And this is like really, really relatable.
Yeah. That's why I ended up stopping talking to Mom, was like I gave her the option, we can either go to therapy and we can work on our issues, or I'm gone. And she said, I've been this way my whole life, and if you don't like it, you can fuck off, pretty much. And so I was like, all right.
Fuck off, I will.
Yeah, she was not open to, like, family therapy and trying to make things work.
Yeah, because then she'd actually have to deal with herself.
Yeah, there'd be compromise that she would have to make, and she wasn't willing to.
Yeah, it says, the more narcissistic your mother is, the less likely she will choose to even attend therapy with you to address your feelings about the relationship. It is difficult and sometimes impossible for a narcissist to feel her own feelings. She typically projects her emotions onto others and is unable to reach inside to sort and feel. Remember, you can't heal what you cannot feel. So narcissistic mothers usually tend to stay away from their inner emotional life. If your mother has never dealt with her feelings or owned her own issues, therapy will be a waste of time. Many mothers walk out of therapy sessions when the issues relate to something that they have done wrong or that is hurtful to the daughters. It is typical of the full-blown narcissist to blame her daughter, even in therapy and in front of the therapist, or degrade her daughter in front of the therapist and treat her like her own personal health care assistant.
Yep.
And of course, she says, this puts you in a horrible bind. You yearn for a healthy relationship with your mother and are willing to put the work in, but your mom refuses the notion that she needs help.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like sad. Like, not only for the daughter, but also the mother. Because, like, if you think about it for a minute, this is someone who has absolutely no concept of their own emotional pain, or much less how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it snowballs into this, like, everybody in the entire environment around this person, this narcissist, gets caught up in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely devastating. There are many situations where mothers who have fewer narcissistic traits are actually open to learning and growing. With these mothers, there is hope that healing can happen between mother and daughter, both in therapy and outside of therapy. Most daughters know instinctively if their mother is a candidate for this or not. They can tell based on their prior experiences with mom when they attempted to discuss feelings or difficulties in communicating. Even though it is hard for mothers to deal with, some can look at themselves clearly and decide they have to want to work on the important relationship with their daughter or daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even think of anyone that I know that has had this kind of narcissistic mother. Now, I'm sure they're out there. I just can't imagine it.
I can't either. Like, hearing about these cases where the mom not only agreed to go to therapy, but listened to what the therapist was saying, listened to their daughter or son, and addressed the abuse that they had committed. Like, just reading about it, I'm like, yeah, mom would never, ever go that far.
Yeah, and even if, like, okay, say you have a narcissistic mother who does have some kind of concept that, hey, there is something wrong here. And yeah, maybe I do need to work on some things. She would never project it. She would never show it because it's all about image to the narcissist, right? I mean, if you think about the myth of narcissist, it's a person who is completely absorbed in the image, which is a very superficial thing. If you go beyond that, if you go any deeper than that, it touches a nerve.
Yeah, there's pushback. Big
yeah.
time.
Even if they do know on some level that they have work to do, they will outright refuse it just to save face. Literally and figuratively.
And it's about them. Like, as soon as you start talking about your own feelings or, you know, things that you went through, she's going to turn it around. At least my mom would.
Yeah. So, what do we tell Mom about our own therapy? Whoa, what do we do there?
I don't remember if she wanted to go to therapy with me. Like, I know she always wanted me in therapy with her at the pain clinic, but I know that I never allowed her in because, like, most of what I wanted to discuss consisted of her, so...
Yeah, and then it would be a whole thing. It would be combat. Absolute combat.
But yeah, she says, this book gives the steps in the recovery program that I use with my clients so that you can do your own personal therapeutic work. That said, working with the therapist one-on-one can be extremely beneficial for you during this time as well. If you decide to go this route, please keep in mind that it is up to you and you alone whether or not to tell your mother that you are even attending therapy. Therapy is a confidential relationship for a reason, and no one needs to know you attend unless you want to tell them. This includes your mother. If you decide to tell her, you should also decide how much you want to share with her. You may choose, very carefully.
Yeah, definitely carefully.
You may choose to inform her that you are attending, but tell her that you do not plan to share this private experience with her. If she pushes for more information, gently set up boundaries. If these do not work, give even firmer boundaries. An example of each is below. And then she goes, a gentle boundary would be, Mother, I appreciate your interest in my therapy, and when I am ready to discuss it with you, I will likely do that. I am still in the midst of some confusion and trying to understand myself better, and want to get further along before I can discuss it clearly and appropriately with you. Thank you for understanding that. And then a firmer boundary would be, Mother, I need to be very clear with you that my therapy is confidential, and I do not discuss it with anyone. It is designed to help me with some issues I am experiencing in my life right now. Do not ask me about it, as I do not plan to share that information with you. And you can preface these boundaries with, I care about you and your feelings, or I love you, Mom, but, which I would never be able to say that because Mom always says anything before the but is negated by the but.
Oh, wow.
But she goes on to say, if Mother acts hurt or gets angry, it is her job to take care of her own feelings, not your job to fix them. Detach from the scene and let it be her problem, which it is. Remember, setting boundaries is not a mean thing to do. It is a healthy exercise in taking good care of yourself. Typically, we daughters know this, but because Mother is good at making us feel guilty, it is sometimes difficult to do. Remind yourself that you do not create feelings in other people. Each person is responsible for his or her own feelings and reactions, and therefore must also be accountable for them. And I have that in red.
Yeah, definitely. That's important to know. But yeah, and this goes to anybody who's in therapy or, you know, even like just any medical stuff at all. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. It's like the way I believe I had this conversation with my mom once. Oh, what'd you talk about in therapy? And I was like, well, I'd tell you all about it if you let me know how your last pap smear went. And she kind of started laughing and then left me alone.
Yep, it's the same thing.
Really, I mean, it's really, if you don't want to disclose anything that has to do with your mental health or physical health, you don't have to ever. So people, that is really a boundary you don't cross with anyone.
Yeah.
Unless they, put forth information and they tell you on their own accord, then leave it be.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that needs to be respected.
Mm-hmm.
So, otherwise, I'm going to ask you about your colonoscopy. So, the real crux of all of this, to me, anyway, is the point that the real work is within. She says, as I'm sure you're finding out, dealing with your mother is much easier after working on your own recovery. The reasons for this change are many. You are less reactive to her projections. You can set clear boundaries. Because of your grief work, she is less able to trigger your pain. And because you've accepted that she has limitations, you no longer have great expectations of her. Regardless of whether or not you're practicing a complete separation, temporary separations, or civil connection, your success is determined by your own internal healing. So, yeah, that's definitely, it comes from within, and this can be, this could apply to pretty much any aspect of life.
Mm-hmm.
Because in life, I don't know if you've noticed or not, there's hardship, there's suffering, I know, right? Newsflash. So, a lot of our suffering, I'm going to get all like Buddhist on you. We'll get all Buddhist up in here. A lot of our suffering has to do with desire and expectation. If you expect things to go some way, then, and you have no evidence for it to, like if you have a narcissistic parent and you expect them to have some kind of emotional depth and bond with you, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Be aware of your reality, be aware of your limitations and limitations of those around you. So yeah, like I'm never gonna be a WNBA player.
What?
I know. So I can't expect people to treat me like an WNBA player.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did, I would become very frustrated, very angry, and cause myself undue harm, emotional harm. So it's the same with this kind of thing. What if Mama dead?
You.
Well, she died.
She did.
She did. If your mother has passed away, you will not be engaging in some of the exercises above, or behind, or whatever. It's a book. I mean, it's not like a tablet.
True.
Well, it is for you.
Yeah, kind of. It's a program.
Yeah, it's a program, so it's kind of above. It's technically above, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually the last line on that page. So it kind of works.
Oh, it's like in the middle of the page for me. So, yeah, it's so yeah. Nonetheless, your internal healing is still a must. I've treated many daughters who continue to have legacy issues throughout their lives, even after their mother has died. The nasty messages stay stuck until you consciously loosen and release them from within you. Working on your recovery is necessary for you to be healthy. Let's explore a deeper understanding of your mother and her background. So,
yes.
So, the next portion is, of course, going around and finding out, how Mama was raised, where all these narcissistic traits came from, and things like that, which is really helpful. Asking relatives, hey, what was the environment like when mom was growing up? Some of the specific questions that are asked, and I'm skipping like a big portion here, but some of the questions are: did you have a happy childhood? Did you feel loved by your parents? Did you feel you got enough attention growing up? Did your parents talk to you about your feelings? Were you listened to, and did you feel heard? How were you disciplined when your parents were upset with you? Were you encouraged as an individual, or did you have to fit the mold for the family image of what was expected? And was your mother or father particularly concerned about what others thought? Now, I recommend, like, she talks about sometimes, it's difficult to just approach mom about this stuff, but sometimes you can think back at how mom talked about her childhood, which is what I've had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And little snippets kind of appear where you can go, there it is.
Yeah, I know one thing my mom said about her childhood that kind of stuck out to me was that it was very divided. Like, Grandma and Grandpa adopted two kids. They're my aunt and my mom. And she said that she was really close to Grandpa, so her dad, and her sister was really close to Grandma. So that there was this split almost where the dad would always stick up for her and the mom would always stick up for my aunt. And so, like, if conflicts arose, it was very sided like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, like, other than the adoption thing, because my mom was one of 4 girls. She was a middle child, adored by her father, adored, even put on a pedestal, right? But for my granny, she was more inclined to be emotionally there for the baby in the family who had childhood diabetes. So, Donna got everything from Granny, and Mom got everything from Papa. And Papa was an intellectual, read the newspaper, just was, a lot of the things that, which we'll go into here in a little bit, that a lot of the traits that my mom had that I'm also received were instilled with her there. But one thing that I can say about both of my grandparents is that emotionally, they were pretty distant.
Yeah.
My granny was, she was nurturing to a point, like let me fix you something to eat, you need your clothes clean kind of thing. But at the same time, if you came to her and you said, hey, I feel this way, she would just, no, she would yeet. Just yeeted right out of that. And anytime there was a conflict that was embarrassing to Papa, he would yeet out of that. So there was a whole lot of that going on. There was a lot of coldness. Even though she had a very happy childhood, they had the divided dynamic, and they also had the cold emotional.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there was some of that too, because, like, my grandma and grandpa, like, I think grandpa was born in 1908 and my grandma was born in 1916. So they were fairly old for their generation when they adopted in their late 30s.
Right.
So that was very, there's almost a generational skip there in between their generation and my mom. And that generation is very closed off emotionally. They didn't talk about emotions, especially not a father.
Right.
That would never happen.
Yeah. The same, like my grandparents, they were born in the 20s. They were Depression kids, they were part of the greatest generation, World War II and all that. And Mom was a baby boomer.
Yep, mine too.
And they were fed good. They had, whatever my grandparents could give them, they did. They provided very well for my mom and her sisters. But emotionally, nah. In fact, I had this videotape old tape that my dad recorded of my grandparents. And my dad asked Papa, what do you say about your kids? What do you have to say about your daughters? And he'd say, well, I fed them good.
All right.
They're all,
says more all about fat. Yourself.
They were all fat. All of them. He fed them good.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the imagery. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's funny to me because, like, the way he said it was just so papa. Anyway, you had to have been there. You have to be me to get the context, I guess. But, he was an ugly son of a bitch. Anyway. And Maddie's seen that tape, so we'll know what I'm talking about. They'll probably laugh too. And she also talks about spare the rod and spoil the child. Children should be seen and not heard. These kind of things. And the different shifts in the generations. And oddly enough, like, I don't know, I was raised in the see and not heard and spare the rod. Like, my parents, or at least my dad, raised me the same way he was raised. And my mom kind of like took out the abuse that she suffered from him physically onto me until I was old enough to beat her ass. But yeah, so that, you know, learning the background puts it in perspective for you. Now, the next topic here is forgiveness. Are you okay with moving on to that?
Yeah.
Okay. So forgiveness, what are your thoughts?
Like,
I know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to put it into words. I can't forgive Mom for what she did to us. I can't. Yeah. But I've also moved on and am taking the responsibility to learn how to cope with what I went through. I don't play the blame game. Right now, my issues are my issues, and I need to go through what I need to go through to cope with them. It's no longer Mom's fault, but I just don't forgive her for it. Like, and I know that forgiveness doesn't have to be a, saying that it's okay, what you went through. I think my sisters have forgiven my mom. I know my eldest sister has, or she's talked about it in the past. But I can't. I don't know. Like, maybe where I am right now, some people would consider it forgiveness. I'm not doing the blame thing anymore, but I just can't say that. I can't say, Mom, I forgive you for what you did. I can't.
Yeah. Well, for me, like, I've let go of a lot of stuff. For me, forgiveness is letting go of the baggage. Like, and the only way you can really do that is to sort through it and see what's there. Because you can't let it go if there might be something important in there that you got to deal with, right? So before you completely throw out, the suitcase, you got to sort through it. You got to know, like the background. Understand Mom was not capable. Mom was raised this way, and in my case, Mom was abused by Dad, and she could not help but see Dad in me, which I've got some of my traits from Dad,
right.
I got some traits from Mom too, which we'll go into in a minute. But for me, it was sorting through all that and letting it go. Now, in terms of forgetting, because people often say forgive and forget, no, not gonna forget. I will not. I refuse. I want to hold it.
Well,
because it's part of my experience. It's part of what makes me me.
You can't learn from it if you deny it happened.
Exactly. And I certainly can't relate to other people and be there for another person who has suffered similar instances if I forget.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, with 9/11, that was a trauma on our country. And what do we say about that? Never forget. So I'm holding on to that. It was a tragedy for me that I refuse to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Inner letting go, she says here, is something to do for your own good. Daughters of narcissistic mothers have been unloved, and many have been abused physically, sexually, and emotionally. We do not condone bad mothering. And forgiveness, she says before this, is not a condoning of the behavior.
Yeah.
Just to make that clear and put it in context. We do not condone ignoring the basic needs and rights of children. But if you do have to let go of this past internally, so that you, the daughter, can also let go of your anger, rage, and sadness, you can forgive by foregoing these negative emotions so that you can go on for the rest of your life. Now, more pushback. Sometimes it's okay to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's okay to be sad. It's fine. There's a healthy amount. The anger and sadness that I felt for years, though, was too much.
Mm-hmm.
It depleted my ability to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
And skipping that from the top has made all the difference for me. There are times that I still think back and go, oh, what could have been, because never forget.
Mm-hmm.
And something will trigger a memory. And I'll have a nice, healthy cry.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes it's something that I need to reflect upon because it's buried. And that's kind of how, trauma works. You get a trigger of something and that's been buried, and then it resurfaces so you can deal with it and face it with courage, without fear.
Yeah.
And that is the process, and it's a continued process. So even if you can't say, oh, I forgive, or oh, I've let this go, that's fine. You are where you are in this process.
Mm-hmm.
So don't negate how far you've come.
Right.
That's one thing I wanted to make sure that I emphasized on the forgiveness part. All right, now to the fun part. What do you think?
Mother's the really gifts.
Fun. Yeah, the really fun part.
Yes, the exercise in this chapter. So the next section is Mother's Gifts. It is important to remember that no person is all good or all bad. Whether your mother has narcissistic traits or has full-blown NPD, she has some goodness in her. She likely passed along talents, passions, interests, and knowledge to you. Remind yourself of the gifts she has given you. They might be artistic, musical, mechanical, body shape or size, texture of hair, beautiful eyes, smooth skin, or something like the ability to paper a wall without a single wrinkle. Write in your journal about the gifts your mother has bestowed upon you and allow yourself to feel gratitude. When I was a small child, my grandmother used a significant repetitive phrase with me. If I ever attempted to say anything bad about anyone, she would sit me on her lap and gently tell me, if you look hard enough, you can always find the gold in people. I have certainly found this to be true. Look for the gold and the gifts in your mother, and it will help you more than you may realize right now.
You know what I really love about this exercise? I love that it highlights the very mistake that a narcissist makes in terms of dichotomous thinking. Remember, we were talking about they're either all good or all bad?
Yeah.
This douses that with reality. Reality is people are a mixed bag.
Yeah.
They have good traits, they have bad traits. People are not as simple as that. So, and this is another good way to not only accept the fact that, because we have this conflict inside of loving our mothers despite, how can you love somebody who abused you?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love my mom.
And this, like, for a long time, I struggled with it. I don't even know why I love this person.
Yeah.
Right. And so this exercise is something that is really useful in terms of sorting through that, because a lot of times we feel guilty even for caring about our abuser, which is, it's complicated, right? We're human, complicated. So going through this also helps you to accept those traits that remind you of her, which is an important part of this. So I'm really glad that this exercise is here. It's very difficult. No one said it would be easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I found this one not particularly hard in that there's no good things that she gave me. It's just I have trouble just putting it in a list, in concrete form, I guess. So I needed some help, some suggestions. And I only came up with 6, so
that's understandable, especially when you spent so much time trying to get over this whole thing. Right? For me, I guess my relationship with mom was different, right? I had that whole bond, weird trauma bond thing, and the psychological or philosophical literature, kind of bond with my mom. So a lot of that is one of those moments I appreciate. I can look back and go, yeah, I'm proud of that, So what you got on your list?
I have intelligence. My mom was extremely smart, and I inherited some of her writing aptitude. I know in all throughout school, writing was super easy for me to do, whether it was creative writing or expository. But yeah, she was smart. She was extremely smart. I inherited her beauty, her looks. I look more like my dad now, but when I was really young, I looked a lot more like Mom. Her music aptitude, she could sing, and I think she was in musicals when she was in high school, so choir, and that was very important to her. I don't know that I can sing so much, but I did inherit the love for music, at least.
I heard you sing. You sing pretty well.
Well,
you do.
Sassiness or warranted bitchiness, I have down.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
When you push me too far. So, yeah. Work ethic, when I was working, and even now, I guess, with projects like this, that I put 100% into what I'm doing. It's no half-ass measures typically. Good manners. She taught us manners very well. Yeah, but that's all I could think of.
That's good stuff.
I kept grouping things under intelligence, the writing aptitude. Well, I already explained that in intelligence, so
Yeah, a lot of mine's like that too. A lot of the same stuff's on my list.
But yeah, what do you got?
I got didn't even have it opened up. Preparation I didn't get. So intelligence.
Hey.
And a sense of curiosity, a drive to understand life on a deeper level, love of philosophy, poetry, and music, strength, physical strength and mental strength, good work ethic, an independent nature, ability to plan ahead both emotionally and financially, assertive nature, singing ability, writing proficiency, rejection of coercion, ability to see what lies beneath the surface of others and their motives, people watching and being mindful of my environment. And I could have went on forever, but as you said, most of it's grouping under like a certain type of intelligence. Like there's absolutely nothing here that's has to do with my looks, because like quite frankly, like I don't look like my parents. I don't think. Like I've got my hands look like my mom's, and they're not good. They're just not.
Yeah, but their hands, like
like I can use them. Yay.
Yeah.
Like I got huge pores for my mom. Thanks. Stuff like this. So I don't know. Like a lot of the better traits that I have physically have to do with like my grandparents or great grandparents. So I don't know. But yeah, like I said, this is a good exercise to reflect on the good stuff and
yeah, it
kind
was
of
nice.
give it a balance, you know.
So yeah, the next section, love not blame, the look of recovery. My hope for you includes all of the following. You now view yourself with an inner knowing and a sense of love. You replace the anxiety and unease of your childhood with a flood of gratitude for having been given life and this important journey to undertake. You now understand that the path you were given to travel was and is full of life lessons worth treasuring. You have recognized that you have an inner wisdom and that you can now share with your children, others whom you love, and the world. You now see that your mother gave you special gifts, although they were disguised and hidden in trauma that you can now appreciate. You are accountable for your own life. You depend on yourself to manage your emotions. You are an adult with a solid sense of self. You take yourself seriously and are no longer filled with self-doubt. You have stepped out of the shadows of a childhood filled with anxiety and into the sunshine of confidence and competence. You are now ready to complete the healing journey by undertaking the final step to ending the legacy of your narcissistic mother.
Yeah.
That'll be next time.
We're going to end this next time. It's going to be over. No more recovery. We're going to be solved. No.
Right.
It's
lifelong.
Yeah, never have to deal with this again. No.
I wish.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We were watching, I forget what it was. It was some kind of horror series. Channel Zero or something. No, was it that? I don't know. But we were watching some kind of horror thing, and there was this lady who had schizophrenia, and her sister had been abducted by somebody. I don't know, the horror guy. And they said, well, we're going to pick that schizophrenia right out of your brain. And they opened her skull, and there was this like little face. They just picked it right out. It's gone. Yeah, that's not how recovery works.
Oh my god. I really hope I don't have some creature in my brain screaming to get out right now.
I know, right?
Jesus.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
It wasn't the series Channel Zero. It was some horror movie. Maddie can probably tell us in the chat if Maddie's there. But yeah, that was funny because it was like just poking out of her, lobes.
Oh god, that's hilarious.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Well, I'm going to show myself by my art. I might upload a video on Missus Snarky YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. That's where I am most of the time because I just can't be bothered with YouTube. I'm too stressed out and busy.
Yes.
So, yeah. Like I barely had time for this today.
And we went over. So sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Just follow me on Twitter. Buy my art.
Yes. All the links are in the description. recommended you click on all of them.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here again. And yeah, this week it was a little bit long, but hopefully we retained your interest.
Giggity.
But yeah, join us next time. And remember, life can be shit, so let's get through it together. Keep hanging in there with hashtag and Missus Snarky.
Yeah, this is the climax where we go to the blooper reel.
Yes, stick around for the bloopers. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Mwah. Test recording. Okay, test recording is going.
Y'all ready for this?
Okay, recording is started.
Yay, recording. This is the recording that never ends.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. I don't even know what. Like, I didn't sleep much. I got up at 6 a.m. to go pee and just looked at my phone, you know. And I got the news. and I haven't been... I'm terrible, okay? I'm terrible. But I started laughing.
Yeah.
And
I did too.
I couldn't stop laughing. So I had to leave the bedroom and some coffee so I could wake up and laugh some more. And yeah, I mean, I would say it's a tragedy, right? But it is what it is, right?
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm not gonna shed a damn tear.
No. Mm-mm.
I'm just saying.
Like I said in the chat with my sisters this morning, like, I don't give a shit about this person, this human. I don't. I really don't. Like, he has taught me that my empathy, it has limits.
Yes.
There's only so much that I will take and still care about you.
You know who I empathize with? The over 200,000 dead Americans.
Yep. And their family.
And he knew. He fucking knew.
Mm-hmm.
I will not shed a tear. You know what? I want to get that coat. I don't really care. Do you? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Do it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna like post that shit everywhere.
Right.
That's what I've been doing this morning. Like, anyways.
Yeah.
Ha ha. Bitch. Like, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Ooh, Snarky, that's not very nice." I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care.
Human life, yes. That is why I'm angry, because loss of human life.
Mm-hmm.
That stupid son of a bitch. Open up the schools. Open them up. Fuck you.
My sister's kids they were doing the distance learning and then they went back to school, but now since we're like a hotbed of corona up here, they're going back to home, like doing the distance learning, and I'm really happy that they're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like at this school, because cases are going up. They're going up in this area. We're right next door to Wisconsin. We're right next door to other states that have virus that's going up.
Yeah.
And if the school were to be like, hey, they need to come to the school. No. Because I'll tell you why. My kid had to go over there to pick up a test from the office. No social distancing. No mask. There was one student that had a mask. The office staff.
Holy fuck.
Were not wearing masks. Throw me in jail before I put my kid in that school.
No shit.
I hadn't. So, just imagine, you know, all these people that died. and their families. That's where my empathy goes.
Yeah, that's who I care about.
If you've lost a loved one because of COVID, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish the country that I love so much had been prepared for this. I wish that the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, a world leader, would have protected you, would have cared enough to protect you.
And not just covered it up and pretend that, oh, I'm just doing it so you don't cause panic. Fuck off with that.
And spread lies about, miracle cures. True, we have to lose. No. Y'all, America, we deserve better. I know that we have a lot of problems, okay? But we do deserve better. We deserve better. And there's just no words. There's no words for the loss that we've suffered. Anyway, it's devastating. If I keep talking about it, I'm gonna cry.
Right.
So, anyway, let's talk about some more tear-jerking shit.
Right? Some more not so fun shit.
You want to do an intro, or you want to just get into it, or what? It just said, hey, we're here, y'all.
I should probably do that. It's like, well, because typically, like, all this pre-conversation, and it'll be in the blooper reel, but, like, Snarky and I will just get into talking at the beginning, and I'll completely forget that, like, we're here for a reason.
Yeah, it's like just two friends chatting about stuff,
It's like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this is, but we also just happen to be recording.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah.
The big lights in front of me.
Oh my god.
Evidence.
So you liking your setup?
So far, yeah. I'm still a little on the yellow/orange side, but I
don't see it.
Like,
I think
just
you look a lot better.
Touch. It's not bad. It's not like it was for those gaming recordings, which I forgot about my gaming premiere last night.
Shit. I forgot about it too. Well, we kind of
I didn't have it set up. Like, it didn't go because it wasn't set up. Like, I got the notification. I think I have it set to tweet about the premiere at 6:30, and that came up, and I was like, oops. Guess we're not doing that.
Look, I tell you, being a YouTuber is hard, y'all. I mean, y'all think we just sit here and we just, freestyle and record. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, there is.
We gotta, like, show up to... We gotta make sure our premieres are set up and, show up to them.
Yeah.
I've had times where, oh no, I forgot I was premiering, and just rush into the chat. Hi, y'all. I'm totally not late. Maddie's done that too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah.
Except for
fun.
Evans,
Well, Evans. Evans is too much of a prolific YouTuber to make such a mistake.
That's beneath him.
Yeah, totally.
How dare we even just have the thought that he could make that mistake.
We need more Faith the Southerner videos. I'm just saying. And we need Faith the Southerner videos where he just sits in front of a camera and he yells for like 20 minutes about stuff. That's what we need.
Yep.
We need that in our lives. It's just... And since I'm snarky, I would approve.
He already does it on Twitter. So, like, that could be the script for the videos.
I know! Right? Just read your fucking timeline.
Yeah, your timeline. Oh my god, I would hate to have his timeline. It is brought a lot, like, he brings it on himself, but, like, I would still hate to have that timeline.
You heard what she said. She said it. I didn't. It's true, though.
It is true. It's so true.
But, I mean, it's fun sometimes. Sometimes it's like, nah, I ain't dipping my toe into that.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Evans's Twitter's where it's at. Yeah, so yes. This is
intro. So
yeah.
Hey, do a trick.
Yeah. Giggity. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, and it's gone.
Paper.
Paper?
Paper. Yeah. Don't ask. It worked though. Okay, yes. Let me move around a little bit. Is it still good?
You're still good.
Yes. All right. Had to make it a little. I had to make the whole time.
Giggity.
I did. That's the true. It's over now.
I have to pee.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Damn coffee.
Coffee's good though. See, if I didn't have coffee, I wouldn't be here. I get up in the morning just because I know that there's coffee. Okay? If there's no coffee, there's no reason to get out of bed. It just really isn't. I mean, unless you have to pee. But then you can always just get back in bed, especially during the winter when it's cold, because, oh my God, get all nice and warm under the covers. Who the hell would want to get up? Like, seriously. And if a God did create us, why? Why create us with this first thing in the morning? Have to go to the bathroom, and it's like an emergency. If you're like me, it's an emergency. Like, you cannot lay there and just, relax for a while. No, you gotta run to the bathroom if you can. Life is hard, y'all. And one of the things that makes it really hard is pee. It really does. It makes it difficult. I'm gonna cry. Thinking about pee. Not really. It's a totally natural thing. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine that I have to run out of my warm bed to go pee. It's fine. I can deal with this. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little diatribe, Casey. When future Casey that's editing this. I love you, girl. You're awesome. I know. Hello.
Hi. Oh, now this side is showing. Hold on.
It's discombobulated.
Yeah,
it's really pretty.
Thanks.
I love that backdrop.
It's my favorite one of all the ones that we have.
I could see why. It's gorgeous.
Oh, everything is tangled. Holy shit. Sorry. My
tangles be happening.
Yes, my insulin pump got tangled on both my headphones and my my vape thing.
Oh, that's just, I think you've reached your cyborg limit.
Yes. Anywho,
where are we at anyway?
Over it's right before the 2 paragraphs before the civil connection. It says, if your mother is indeed unchangeable.
Oh, okay. And by the way, I was completely silent the whole time.
Sure. I'll find out when I'm editing.
Future Casey is in for a treat.
Ooh, goody.
Oh, God. I'm going to be so embarrassed. I might not show up. I might be so embarrassed that I might not show up.
Well, if you need anything cut, just let me know.
No, it's okay. I'm just playing around. So, if you're...
Go ahead. Sorry.